a permit or a permit application that I could put together myself, because I simply don't have the technical knowledge and expertise to put together a package like this.
And I understand that. 2 points. One, the other 2 applications off our coast haven't been accepted yet. So, assuming that they have not been accepted yet, then I have not heard any reason why we couldn't apply as well. And there's a local government priority that we have. Secondly, we in this county have missed the boat on many issues because we don't have the resources. And that's one of the reasons why we never have the resources. What I'd like us to do is take a look at what it would take, and maybe it is out of our reaches, and that's very possible. But we may also be able to look at a regional approach too with Sonoma County. I think those are alternatives that we probably should take a look at and determine, yes, we can move forward and kind of control our own destiny, so to speak, on the coast, or we'll just have to be reactive to whoever does step up.
One of the strategies that kind of goes along this line that staff has been discussing is, according to FERC, the Federal Power Act, that as a municipality, we developed our own license application for a project. We may be able to push ourselves to the front and to be first in line for this type of project as a municipal project. We've heard talk about that. But keep in mind, a license application is a different animal than a permit application. A license application has to be, right down to, the way I understand it, your construction drawings and specifications for the project was going to proceed. And you're going to have to, you'd fight your battles through all the resource agencies to even get a project permitted. It takes tremendous amounts of resources. Supervisor Delbar, you bring up a great point. I guess there's an old saying, sometimes it takes money to make money, and in this case, you need capital to be able to invest in a project to move forward. In terms of discussions with Sonoma County Water Agency, I guess that under our recommendation of developing a regional type approach, that discussions with Sonoma County and Sonoma County Water Agency could proceed under that umbrella. But the truth is that there are already permit applications that are for large areas of our coast that have already been applied for. And in terms of the exact status of the permit applications, I think there's, Terry, maybe you can speak to that. So I'm going to pass the microphone to Terry Gross at the County Counsel's office.
Well, through the chair, Ms. Gross, before you answer, as I'd like to hear your perspective on it, but also what the potential is for private-public partnerships as well.
First, I'd like to address the issue of whether the county can position itself regarding the areas that are already subject to permits. Apparently, as to the PG&E project, the time to file a county permit, which would have preference passed the same time the deadline to intervene passed. So the deadline to file a permit, to file a preliminary application for a permit, the deadline is synced up with the deadline to intervene. So far, the PG&E application has not been granted or denied. It's still hanging out there. It could be, given that our motions to intervene were denied, I wouldn't be surprised if they were coming up on a decision. The Green Wave application is further away. We do have an opportunity to file a county or collaborative application for a preliminary permit. I did speak with Sonoma County, my counterpart in Sonoma County. It was an interesting conversation. What I can tell you is that they pretty much filed a lean and mean, dirty, quick application. This was not their permit application. If you read the applications, they don't have a lot of detail. There is some detail. We could possibly hire an engineer or consultant to put an application together fairly quickly. And we would have to do that as soon as we got notice for that the Green Wave application was accepted. And what was interesting to me is what that preliminary application does is it just holds our priority space. It doesn't involve a lot or any investment at this point. We would perhaps have to hire an engineer or consultant to work on the application itself. Whether or not we should collaborate with another municipality, I think that's something that would have to be further investigated. And the notion of private-public partnership is an interesting one to pursue. Perhaps that we could be directed to pursue that as well.
Thank you.
Okay, Supervisor, which one, who was first? Supervisor Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think that today we probably need to do a couple of things. I think we need to, move forward on Mr. Kaler's recommended courses of action, of which there are a number. And I think that we still are going to need to proceed. As Council mentioned, the Green Wave FERC permit is still pending. So once that window of time, which I believe will come in shortly, would be, I think, a 60-day time frame, right? So we would need to make sure that we intervene in a timely manner. And at the same time, I think we need to pursue this other permitting option in terms of what would be the parameters that the county could apply for. I've already explored it in very general terms with both Sonoma County and Humboldt County. So I think we should look at a regional approach, and that's why we have the ad hoc committee. We ought to have the ad hoc committee meeting regularly and exploring this, and as Supervisor Delbar said, this public-private partnership is a definite possibility. And I think people need to keep in mind that the Mendocino coast, out of all of these areas, from what my research has shown and what comments that were made at the Fort Bragg day-long workshop, is that it is the most desirous of all of the coastal stretches. It has probably the best wave activity, and with the generation capability at the Fort Bragg mill site, I think it's particularly why it's desired as a locale to hopefully harness the energy, and because there'd be a conduit to get that energy to shore. So I think we're sitting in a position of a lot of opportunity, and that we shouldn't exclude any option at this point. So I think we're going to need to do all of these things, go forward with your recommended actions, and then have the ad hoc committee further explore any number of options that might come forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Pinchas.
Well, I support this recommendation here, but the thing that really concerns me, I think maybe we better come back to reality. It's real sexy to talk about this wave energy stuff, but we're in a county, first of all, we have a water crisis, and we have fuel from gasoline approaching $4 a gallon, which is totally devastating our families, our business people out there, and it seems like there's not much talk about that. So we're going to talk about these, first of all, they're not projects, they're proposed projects. Chevron dropped theirs already. The only project that's out there is at the bottom of the ocean up off at the coast of Oregon or Washington. That's the only project out there. It failed at the bottom of the ocean. So, if we want to talk about electricity, what that's going to generate, maybe we should talk about trying to promote a cogeneration plant to burn our wood waste, and like Humboldt County's doing. We're taking our yard waste from Ukiah, and they're burning to generate electricity in Humboldt County. But yet, what are we doing here? We're having all these meetings on wave energy, and even if it is feasible, which I'm not so sure it is the county in a position to do that? No, frankly, we're not. So I just don't want to get this county. Maybe we need to come back to reality of it here, and let's deal with the issues that we have at hand. Frankly, we're not really short in our price of our electricity that we have in this county